Let me tell you something that might surprise you. If you're watching this video, there's a real chance you're far more attractive than you think. Not because of how you look in the mirror, but because of how women respond when you're not even trying. You see, most men walk through life blind to the signs. They miss the small behaviors, the nervous laughter, the subtle glances, the way other men suddenly change when they enter the room. This isn't about arrogance, it's about awareness. Because if you don't recognize your own power, someone else will. And they'll use it before you ever understand it. In this video, I'm breaking down 8 clear, undeniable signs you're the kind of man women feel drawn to, even if no one has ever said it to your face. By the time we're done, you'll stop asking, "Am I attractive?" and start realizing they've been answering that question all along. If you're ready to see what's been hiding in plain sight, hit subscribe, and if you want to go deeper with me and other Stoic men, join the private Stoic members circle right now. Let's get into it. Number 1. Women stare but act like they don't. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever caught a woman looking at you? But the moment you turn your head, she pretends she was looking at something else. Maybe she grabs her phone. Maybe she fixes her hair. Maybe she starts talking to her friend like she wasn't studying you just 2 seconds ago. That, my friend, is not random. That's one of the clearest signs you're more attractive than you give yourself credit for. You see, women are observant by nature, hyper-aware. They notice everything: the way your eyes move, your body language, even your silence. But when they feel drawn to you and they're not sure how you'll respond, they mask their interest. They cover it, because deep down they don't want to seem too obvious. And if you're truly attractive, not just in looks but in energy, presence and posture, they'll try to study you without you noticing. Why? Because your presence creates internal tension, and that tension is exactly what creates attraction. You see, highly attractive men don't always know they're attractive. They're not cocky, they're not loud, but they carry themselves in a way that feels different. Maybe it's the way you stay composed in a loud room. Maybe it's how you make brief eye contact, then look away like you're not chasing anything. Maybe it's how your energy doesn't reach for approval. That kind of man doesn't need to try. He doesn't need to seek attention, which is exactly why he gets it. Now here's the twist. Women will stare at that kind of man, but won't want him to know. Because once you realize they're looking, they feel like they've lost the upper hand. So what do? They glance, then look away. They glance again when they think you're not looking. They whisper something to a friend pretending it's not about you. They scroll through their phone with eyes that aren't really reading anything. This is all cover. But don't get it twisted. It's not about the look. It's about the behavior shift after they realize you caught them. And here's where the Stoic mindset gives you the upper edge. Don't chase that look. Don't let it inflate your ego. Instead, let it confirm what you already know. You don't need validation, but it's coming anyway. That quiet confidence, that non-reactivity, it's more attractive than any six-pack or designer watch. In fact, the more you act like you didn't notice the glance, the more powerful the effect becomes. It tells her, "I'm used to being noticed. You're not the first. And I'm not here to impress." Now, to be clear, I'm not saying every look is a sign she wants to marry you. But when it's repeated, when it's mixed with fidgeting, adjusting her clothes, playing with her hair, that's not just curiosity. That's attraction trying to hide behind politeness. So what should you do? Simple. Acknowledge it mentally then. Keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to engage. You don't need to perform. Because when a woman sees a man who notices attention but doesn't need it, her respect goes up. Her interest intensifies, and her imagination kicks in. That's the zone where attraction becomes emotional, and emotional attraction, that's what sticks. Now, I want you to think back. Have you ever noticed this before? A look, a glance, a shift in her posture, but brushed it off. If yes, drop a comment right now. She thought I didn't see her. Because the truth is, you probably did. You just weren't playing the game. And that's what made you attractive in the first place. Because real magnetism isn't loud. It's not obvious. It's felt. And when it's real, they'll look for you, even when they're pretending not to. Ready for what happens when she stops pretending? You'll want to see what's next. Number 2. She laughs harder around you for no reason. Let me ask you something. Have you ever told a simple joke, maybe even a bad one, and she laughed like you just delivered a Netflix special? You weren't even trying to be funny. Maybe you were just making a casual comment. And suddenly she's smiling, giggling, leaning and touching her neck. That's not comedy, that's chemistry. See, when a woman finds a man attractive not just physically but emotionally and energetically, her body language changes in subtle but telling ways. And laughter is one of the biggest giveaways. It's not just about the joke, it's about how you make her feel. And when a woman feels drawn to a man, even if she doesn't fully understand why, she'll look for excuses to keep the interaction going. Laughter becomes a bridge, a tool, a signal. Because when she's laughing, especially a little too hard, a little too long, what she's really saying is, I want you to keep talking. I want you to stay here. I feel something when I'm around you. And here's what most men don't realize. A woman's laugh isn't just a response. It's a reaction to presence. If your energy is grounded, if your eye contact is steady, if your voice is calm and certain, that alone creates a subtle pressure in the room. Not an aggressive pressure, but a magnetic one. And when she feels that, her body searches for release. Laughter is often how that tension leaks out. Now here's where things get interesting. You might notice she laughs harder when other women are around. That's not a coincidence either, because attraction isn't always private. Sometimes it's performative. She's signaling to you, to other women, to herself. She's broadcasting her interest while pretending it's just a joke. That's what makes this so powerful, because women rarely admit attraction directly. They express it through behavior. And if you're the kind of man who stays composed through it, who doesn't start peacocking or getting flustered, that drives her even deeper into curiosity. She starts wondering, why doesn't he try harder? Is he used to this? Does he see through me? And now you've shifted the dynamic. She's no longer in control of her own reaction. You are. Now here's the Stoic angle you should live by. Don't chase the laugh. Most men, once they hear that laughter, start trying harder. They go into clown mode. They start cracking more jokes, raising their energy, doing too much. That's the opposite of what she wants. She's not laughing because of your performance. She's laughing because of your essence. So stay grounded, stay still, let her come to you. When a woman laughs harder around you than she does around other men, even over nothing, that's your sign. She feels something, and she may not say it, but her laugh already did. Think about this. Ever been in a room where two people are talking, and the woman is just cracking up at everything he says, and you're watching like, that wasn't even funny? Exactly. It's not about the words. It's about the man behind the words. She's not responding to the joke. She's responding to him. So if you've ever had that happen, if you've ever made a woman laugh without effort, if you walked away wondering, why was she giggling so much? Now you know. Drop it in the comments. She laughed at nothing. Because that's not nothing. That's one of the clearest signs she feels the pull. And that pull, it's only getting stronger. Stick around, because what happens next is even more obvious and harder to fake. Number 3. Men get weird when you walk in. Let's flip the lens for a moment. We've talked about how women react when they feel drawn to you. But you want to know an even clearer sign you're highly attractive. Other men feel it too. They just won't say it out loud. Think about this. You walk into a room, the vibe shifts, conversation changes. Some guys stop making eye contact. Others get louder, cracking jokes that don't even land, trying to reassert themselves. That's not you being paranoid. That's presence. Highly attractive men don't just pull attention from women, they disrupt the hierarchy among men. Because when you walk in calm, grounded and certain, without needing to prove anything, the men who do need to prove something start getting uncomfortable. They'll start over-explaining their success, bragging about irrelevant stuff, flashing their watch, their car keys, their last vacation. All of it is an emotional smokescreen, because deep down they feel it. You don't chase validation. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't perform. And that silence, that stillness, it speaks louder than their whole performance. Now don't confuse this with intimidation. You're not trying to scare anyone, but energy doesn't lie. And when a man walks in with self-control, posture and inner calm, it threatens the masks that other men wear. Especially if they've been trying to get the same woman's attention and she suddenly lights up around you. Now they feel the shift, and they don't like it. Here's the real truth most guys won't tell you. Every man in the room knows who the women are drawn to. He sees it in her eyes, in her smile, in her body language. And if that man is you, even if you didn't say a word, they'll feel it. So what happens next? Some will try to match your energy by posturing, standing straighter, talking louder, throwing subtle jabs. Others will get passive-aggressive, trying to dismiss you with fake politeness. Some might even act overly friendly because they feel the imbalance of power. That's when you know you're not just seen, you're sensed. And this is where the Stoic principle kicks in. Don't react, don't respond, just observe. You don't need to get defensive. You don't need to check anyone. You just stay in your lane, present, composed and unmoved. Because when you stay centered, it only intensifies their discomfort. Why? Because they were hoping you'd feel insecure. They were hoping to pull you out of your frame. But you didn't move. And women see that too. When she watches men bend themselves around you while you remain calm and untouchable, her attraction only grows. Because now she's not just responding to how you make her feel, she's watching how you affect the room. And that is a whole different level of influence. You don't need to be the loudest. You don't need to dominate the conversation. You don't even need to say much. Because when men get weird around you, it's not about you being flashy, it's about you being real in a world full of fronts. Now tell me, have you ever walked into a room and felt the tension rise, like the air shifted, even if nobody said it? If yes, drop it in the comments. I've felt the shift, because chances are you weren't imagining it. You were just finally seeing it for what it was, proof of presence. And the stronger your presence, the more the masks start to crack. Stick around, because the next sign doesn't show up in the room. It shows up in the way she touches you without even realizing it. Number 4, she touches you in casual accidents. You ever notice how some women seem to accidentally touch you? A brush on the arm, a quick tap on your shoulder, a playful push when she laughs at your joke. It's subtle, it's small, it almost feels like nothing. But let me tell you something, it's not nothing. When a woman finds a man truly attractive, her body language shifts in ways that words can't. And physical touch, especially the kind that's masked as casual, is one of the strongest signs. See, touch is primal. It bypasses logic, it bypasses social rules, it goes straight to instinct. When she touches you, especially lightly, briefly, by accident, what she's really doing is testing the waters. Can I break the physical barrier without being obvious? Will he pull away? How does it feel to touch him? And most importantly, does he notice, and how does he respond? You might think she does that to everyone, but does she really? Is she brushing everyone's arm when she talks to them? Is she letting her fingers linger just a little longer when she hands something over? Number, she's not. Those accidents aren't accidents at all. They're invites. And here's the key. The more grounded and calm you are when it happens, the more magnetic you become. Because most guys get thrown off when a woman touches them. They tense up. They overreact. They either pull away too fast or they lean in too eager. But a man who's used to it, who doesn't flinch, who lets the moment pass like it's natural, that man is dangerous. Why? Because he doesn't need it. And when you don't need something, people want to give it to you more. It's the Stoic way, non-reactive, still, composed. And women feel safe and curious around that kind of energy. Now here's what most men miss. The touch is often layered. It might start with a quick accidental bump in conversation, then later a hand on your back as she passes behind you, then eventually touching your forearm when she talks, or holding eye contact as her fingers just happen to graze yours. Each layer is a test. She's not just touching you, she's watching how you hold your frame. She wants to know, can this man handle feminine energy without collapsing into it? Is he strong enough to feel me without needing me? That's the real challenge. And when you pass that test, when you stay calm, warm, but unfazed, she feels something deep in her nervous system. She won't say it, she may not even realize it consciously. But inside something clicks. This one's different. Touch is a language, and when it comes to attraction, it says more than words ever could. Now I want you to think, has a woman ever touched you for no reason, in a way that felt like a brush, a bump, a playful nudge, but it lingered just a second too long? That wasn't random. That was instinct. That was biology. That was attraction trying not to get caught. And if it's happened to you even once, I want you to drop it in the comments. She reached first, because she did. And now that you know what that touch really means, you'll never feel confused again. But here's the part most guys miss. That casual touch is just the beginning. Because when she sees you don't need it to feel powerful, she starts imagining what else you don't need from her. And that is where things get interesting. Stick around, because in the next sign it's not about what she does, it's about what she stops doing. Number 5. People assume you have options even if you don't. Let's break something down real quick. There's a difference between having options and projecting that you could. And if you're a highly attractive man, even when you're not chasing anyone, even when you're not dating anyone, even when you've been on your own for months, people still feel like you have women lining up for you. Why? Because presence speaks louder than words. You don't need to post thirst traps. You don't need to talk about all the girls in your DMs. You don't need to brag. The way you carry yourself already implies you're in demand. You walk into a room and people just assume, this guy's not desperate. He's got something going on. He could have anyone if he wanted to. And the funny part is, you might be completely single. You might be focusing on your career. You might be taking time to heal or grow or reset your life. But none of that matters, because the energy you project tells a different story. It tells the story of a man who's not looking to be chosen, a man who chooses. And that difference, it shifts how people treat you. Women suddenly become more cautious around you, not because you're dangerous, but because you feel like a man with options. And that triggers a subtle fear. He could walk away. He probably gets attention all the time. I'll have to earn this. And here's the twist. Attractive men don't always have more women. They just have more power to say no. That's the part most people miss. When you're selective, When you don't flinch, when someone pulls back, when you don't rush to chase, people start painting their own stories about you. They'll whisper, "He's probably a player. He must be dating someone already." Or the classic, "He's too confident, he must get women without trying." None of that might be true, but it doesn't need to be, because perception is reality. And this is where your Stoic core matters. You don't play games, you don't manipulate, but you also don't explain. You just are, grounded, unbothered, unhurried. That presence, especially when you're around women who are used to male attention, says more than any pickup line ever could. She starts to wonder, why isn't he trying harder? What's he hiding? Who's he waiting for? And that mystery, it creates tension, the good kind, the kind that draws her in without a single word being spoken. Because here's the secret: when a man doesn't need to show he has options, people just assume he has better ones than they could imagine. And if you've ever been in a situation where someone asks you, "Are you seeing someone?" but you haven't even flirted with them yet, that's the sign. You're radiating something they can't place, but they feel it. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been single, quiet, just doing your thing, and someone assumed you were juggling women? If yes, drop it in the comments. They thought I had options. Because that assumption, it means your energy is working exactly the way it should. You don't need to chase. You don't need to perform. You just need to stay solid, stay selective, stay real. And trust me, people will keep wondering how many are chasing you while you're busy choosing yourself. Stick around, because the next sign isn't about what they say, it's about how they watch you. Number 6. Her texts start feeling like interviews. Let's talk about a shift that most men miss, and it usually slips right under the radar. You've been texting this woman, nothing serious, just light banter at first. But suddenly, the vibe changes. She starts asking you questions, and not the usual small talk like, "How was your day?" No, these are targeted, sharp, purposeful. What are you looking for right now? Do you date often? Why are you still single? What kind of women do you like? Sound familiar? That's not casual conversation anymore. That's an interview. And the reason this happens, because she sees you as someone with real value, someone who doesn't just accept whoever comes along, someone who chooses, not chases. When you're a highly attractive man, the dynamic flips. Instead of trying to impress her, she starts trying to qualify herself to you. She wants to know if she fits your standards. She wants to know if she's special enough for you. And texting is her first battleground. This isn't her being cold. It's not her being aggressive. It's her being strategic. Because you're not the guy who jumps at attention. You're not the guy who spills his soul after 3 messages. You don't send long paragraphs explaining why you're a nice guy. You're calm, clear, short, to the point. You respond when it matters. You match her energy, but you don't chase it. And that throws her off balance in the best way. So she adjusts. She shifts. She starts asking deeper questions, not because she's nosy, but because she's trying to figure you out. What drives this guy? Why does he feel different from every other man I've talked to? Does he see through me, or is he just naturally like this? And when she can't read you through casual flirting, she'll start testing you with curiosity. Here's where most guys mess up. They take this as a cue to open up everything. They think she's finally interested, time to win her over. And they start oversharing, over-explaining, trying too hard to sound impressive or deep or sensitive. Don't do that. Because if she's texting you like it's an interview, it means she already sees your value. Your job is not to audition. Your job is to hold your frame. Keep your responses intentional. Not cold, not distant, just measured. Let her keep peeling the layers. Let her earn each piece. The more effort she invests trying to understand you, the more emotionally involved she becomes. Because here's the paradox: the less you give away up front, the more she leans in. Not because you're playing games, but because your restraint makes her feel something no other guy does. Intrigue, uncertainty, desire. And that's powerful. So next time you're texting a woman and you notice the tone shift, when the questions start coming faster and deeper, when her emojis drop and her punctuation tightens, pay attention. She's not just chatting anymore. She's measuring potential. And you're either the guy she's trying to impress or the guy she's already ruled out. If this has ever happened to you, if her text suddenly felt like she was trying to figure you out, not just talk, drop this in the comments. She flipped the script. Because when she does that, you're no longer a casual option. You've become something more, a man she's trying not to lose. And once you're in that position, you don't explain. You don't chase. You lead with presence. You hold with calm. And you answer with power. Stick around, because in the next sign it's not about words. It's about what she does when you're not even around. Number 7. She tries to humble you with compliments. Let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten a compliment from a woman that somehow felt like a put-down? Not direct, not rude, but off. You're cute for a guy who knows he's cute. You must have girls chasing you all the time. Bet you love the attention. Wow, you're actually a nice guy. I didn't expect that from someone who looks like you. Sounds like praise. But the subtext. She's trying to humble you. And if you're a highly attractive man, someone who walks into a room with quiet confidence, who doesn't seek validation, who knows who he is, then get ready. Because women will absolutely test you using this exact method. Why? Because your presence unsettles the normal script. You're not thirsty. You're not needy. You don't try to prove yourself. And that's confusing. She doesn't know where she stands with you, and people crave control when they feel uncertain. So what does she do? She compliments you with a little twist, a joke, a jab, a tone that says, "Don't get too full of yourself." It's not because she's mean, it's because she feels vulnerable. See, most guys crumble at the first sign of attention. One compliment and they light up like Christmas. They lean in, start over-talking, trying to lock it down. But when you don't, when you take the compliment with a smirk and keep your calm, that's power. Let's break this down. There are 3 common ways women humble, compliment attractive men. 1. The sarcastic praise. Oh wow, look who decided to show up looking like a GQ ad. This one disguises attraction with humor. She's admiring but trying not to feel like she is. 2. The backhanded compliment. You're actually smarter than I expected. You don't act like a player. I thought you'd be full of yourself. She's dealing with her own assumptions and testing to see if you'll defend yourself. 3. The competitive flirt. I'd never date someone like you. You'd be too hard to handle. Translation. She's definitely imagined it. And she's trying to flip the dynamic. Here's what to do. Don't react. Don't explain. Don't push back. Just absorb it. Smile. Hold eye contact. Maybe tilt your head and say, "That's an interesting way to compliment someone." Then switch the subject. This throws her way off. Because she was fishing for control. And you didn't bite. You stayed grounded. That energy, that self-possession. It's what makes attractive men dangerous in the best way. You're not offended, you're not flattered, you're centered. And that's rare. Women test because they want to see who you are under the surface. Not because they don't like you, but because they're hoping you're even better than you look. So if her compliment feels a little twisted, a little too aware, don't panic. It's a sign she's noticing you. A sign you've stepped outside the ordinary. And if this has happened to you, If a woman ever gave you a compliment that didn't feel pure, drop this in the comments. She complimented my confidence. Because when a woman tries to humble you, what she's really doing is this. She's hoping you'll slip so she can stop feeling like she's the one impressed. But when you don't, when you stay in your power, she leans in harder. Stick around, because in the next sign we flip the lens. It's not about what she says to you anymore. It's about what she stops saying when she realizes you're the one she can't quite figure out. Number 8. She opens up way too fast. Let's talk about something that feels flattering at first, but underneath it reveals something deeper. You've just met her, maybe a few messages exchanged, maybe one short conversation. Maybe it's your first time texting one-on-one, and suddenly she's telling you things no one else knows. Her ex cheated, her family's a mess. She's been heartbroken. She has trust issues. She's never met someone like you. Now look, we're not judging anyone for being vulnerable. In fact, a woman who can share her emotions authentically is a strong woman, but when it happens too fast, before any real bond has formed, that's a signal. And for highly attractive men, this happens a lot more than you think. Why? Because your energy doesn't feel like every other guy. You're not chasing, you're not performing, you're not begging for her attention. You're calm, focused, stoic, and that energy feels safe. So when a woman senses that safety, especially if she's been hurt, she may overcorrect. She floods you with emotion. Not because she's manipulative, but because she doesn't know what to do with your grounded presence. You make her feel seen, so she unloads everything, hoping to hold your attention, hoping to lock you in emotionally before she has to earn it. Now, here's the key. When a woman opens up way too fast, it's not about you, it's about her relationship with control. She wants to anchor herself before she feels lost. She wants to build false intimacy quickly, because waiting for it to happen slowly feels risky. But for a man like you, that quick overshare is a red flag wrapped in a compliment. It says, you seem stable, so let me show you chaos. You feel different, so I'm skipping the slow part. You might be rare, so I'm claiming you now. It's emotional acceleration, and attractive men need to be able to spot it. Because the temptation is strong. You'll feel like a hero. You'll feel like, wow, she trusts me. But trust built in 2 days isn't trust, it's projection. And here's what usually follows. 1. She forms a deep bond in her mind, even if you've done nothing to encourage it. 2. She starts testing your responses. Every delay in reply, every shift in tone she'll analyze. 3. She craves reassurance you didn't promise, and when you don't deliver, she may pull away fast. So what do? Don't panic, don't push, don't feed the fantasy. Instead, stay emotionally grounded. Don't reward emotional overload with more intimacy. Gently slow down the pace. You can still be kind, you can still listen, but don't get swept up. Because the truth is, when a woman opens up that quickly, she's handing you power she hasn't processed yet. And when that happens, you need to lead with clarity. You don't mirror the chaos, you contain it. That's what makes you different from every other man she's tried this with. Now, has this ever happened to you? She told you her whole life story in the first conversation, like she was trying to build something before you even knew her last name. If yes, drop this in the comments. She told me everything. Because when that happens, it means you're not just attractive, you're disarming. And people open up to what feels solid. Stick around. Because the next sign, it's subtle but undeniable. It shows in the way she watches you, even when she thinks you don't notice. Number 9. She mirrors you without realizing it. Here's a subtle one most guys miss, but once you start noticing it, you'll see it everywhere. You're talking to her, just being yourself. You lean back, she leans back. You touch your jaw, she touches hers. You slow down your voice. she starts matching your tone. This isn't coincidence. This is mirroring, and it's one of the clearest subconscious signs of attraction. Now, here's the kicker. When a woman mirrors your behavior without realizing it, it means you've pulled her into your frame. She's no longer observing you, she's syncing with you. That's power. Because attraction isn't just visual, it's biological, it's neurological. When someone's drawn to you, really drawn in, they stop trying to impress you, and they start resonating with you. It's human nature. Let's break this down. Mirroring shows up in three main ways. 1. Physical mirroring. This one's easy to spot. You adjust your posture, she follows. You cross your arms, she does the same a few seconds later. You take a sip of your drink, so does she. It's her brain trying to create harmony with yours. 2. Verbal mirroring. You say a phrase, she repeats it later. You drop a specific word, she starts using it too. It's not about copying, it's about syncing. This is how people build unspoken trust. 3. Emotional mirroring. You stay calm, she relaxes. You speak with confidence, she engages more deeply. You give space, she leans in. She doesn't even know she's doing it, but her nervous system does. Now here's why this matters. Most men chase attraction. They try to impress. They overtalk. They overgive. They try to match her. But when you're the one being mirrored, you flip the entire dynamic. You're leading, without forcing, without flexing, just being. And her subconscious picks it up like a signal. This man doesn't need me, but I want to be near him. So how should you respond when you notice this? Don't call it out. Don't make it weird. Don't use it for ego. Just notice. Notice that you're not trying. Notice that she's engaging. Notice that the energy has shifted. Then stay steady, because that's what amplifies it. When a woman starts mirroring, what she's really saying is this: I feel safe syncing with you. I want to be in your space, not dominate it. Your energy is affecting me, and I don't hate it. You've stopped being just another guy. Now you're a presence. And let me be real with you. That's the kind of presence she remembers long after the conversation ends. Not because of what you said, but because of how she felt in your orbit. So the next time a woman starts matching your words, your movements, your rhythm, you don't need to react. Just keep owning the moment, because that's what she's responding to. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed a woman copying your gestures, repeating your phrases, or laughing at things before you even finish saying them? If yes, drop this in the comments. She mirrored my energy. Because when you're centered, when you're present, when you're not trying, that's when she leans in without even knowing why. And in the next part, you'll see the final sign. The one that doesn't happen during the conversation, it happens after. And it's the clearest proof that you left your mark. Number 10. She remembers the smallest things you say. You ever have a woman bring up something you said weeks ago? Something random, something small. Maybe you didn't even remember saying it. You mentioned you hate pineapple on pizza. Boom, next time she sees pizza, she laughs and says, "No pineapple for you, right?" You told her your mom used to sing a certain song in the car. Suddenly she sends you a link to that track. No context, just nostalgia. You made a joke about owning a husky one day. She tags you in a husky video 2 months later. Now you're thinking, she's got a good memory. But let's get real. This isn't about memory. It's about focus. When a woman remembers the smallest things you say, it means you've imprinted on her attention. She's tracking the little details not because she has to, but because she wants to. That's emotional recall. And men don't get this from women they don't impact. See, when a guy is just background noise in her life, she doesn't even remember his name, let alone his stories. But when she feels something deeper around you, when your words hit a frequency that sticks, Even your throwaway lines get filed away. Because the female brain is wired to scan for emotional cues. When she's attracted, her subconscious turns into a sponge, absorbing what matters to you, so she can stay aligned with it. It's not manipulation, it's connection. And when she's replaying your words in her head, she's not just thinking about what you said, she's thinking about how you made her feel. Here's the truth. Words are like fingerprints. They leave marks, but only if they're authentic, only if you're speaking from presence. When a man says something with intention, even in passing, a woman who's drawn to him will remember it like a line from a movie. Not because it was perfect, but because it was him. Now here's where this gets interesting. When she starts bringing up the small things, what she's actually doing is testing emotional intimacy. She's saying, I listened. Did you mean it? I noticed. Did you notice me noticing I care? Do you even realize I do? It's subtle, it's quiet, but it's a form of pursuit. Most guys only see pursuit when it's obvious: texts, calls, flirting. But this is deeper. It's her way of staying connected without being obvious. Because if she's emotionally drawn in but trying to play it cool, she'll hide her interest in small callbacks. It's her version of showing up without saying she's showing up. And here's what separates men who win from men who get confused. The man who wins notices. He doesn't dismiss it. He doesn't brush it off. He sees the value of subtle effort. He knows that when a woman remembers small things, she's trying to keep the thread alive. Not the surface thread, the emotional one. She's saying, I see you, I hear you, you matter. So what do? You acknowledge it calmly, confidently. Not with surprise, not with jokes, but with presence. Yeah, I did say that. Then give her a look that says, I see what you're doing. Because that moment, it's not about the pineapple pizza, it's about attention. She remembers the small things because you've made a big impression. So if you're wondering whether she's drawn to you, watch for the callbacks, the quiet references, the little signs that you're living rent-free in her emotional memory. Because when a woman starts remembering the smallest things you say, she's already felt what most men never make her feel: a sense of depth, a spark of intimacy, a man who left a mark without even trying. If you made it this far, it means something clicked. Maybe you recognized yourself. Maybe you realized you've been more attractive than you gave yourself credit for. Here's the truth most men never hear. It's not always about what you wear, how much you earn, or what you say. It's about how you carry yourself: calm, grounded, unapologetic. And that's why this channel exists. If you want to keep building that version of yourself, the one that women notice but men respect even more, then hit subscribe right now. And if you're ready to go deeper to unlock exclusive Stoic strategies, real conversations, and behind-the-scenes breakdowns, join the Stoic Brotherhood today. It's more than content, it's a mindset. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, and I'll see you tomorrow.